so much subtext, like
slow burn.
Yeah, which I found out that I love.
Yeah.
I made a friend the other day watch The Hateful Eight, and they did not like it.
Did not like it?
I was, for me, the slower the burn, the better, I guess.
As long as the payoff's good, it's good.
The payoff in this movie is so good.
Yeah, it happens all
it's
at the same
so
time.
good. Did you have a favorite part
Of the movie?
Yeah, like was there a particular like moment that just like reached out and grabbed you?
I don't think I had a particular moment. I think that like anything that can be that deliberate with everything that it does is like overall. It's like when you look at a painting, you don't look at a painting and go, "Oh, my favorite part of the painting's this one brush stroke over here." You're like, no. And as a whole, it's a really good painting,
And
that's how I feel about this.
And it's a satisfying ending. Sometimes you watch a movie and you get to then you're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
not
he at least
satisfying.
gets out.
Well, yeah, he actually does finally get out.
Yeah.
And and the subtext when you rethink about everything. So going back to the beginning, Rose was trying to make sure that there was no trail that Chris was at their house. That she wasn't trying to protect him from a racist cop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everything that she did was
Super deliberate.
super sus. When you really think about what she was doing,
Yeah.
and then you're like, wow, dude.
And the fact that she was just going to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Like that was her whole purpose, was to continue to bring people in.
Yeah, and basically what they did is they did like a brain surgery transplant or something. Or they did something.
Yeah.
And that's what put the actual person into the sunken place, and then the new person who bought their new
is just experiencing it. Yeah.
Which is a crazy concept. But there's so much like, again, talking about the racial aspect is that you can be doing something that's racially what's the word I'm looking for? It just makes somebody uncomfortable, even though you're trying to be nice. Like is what we were talking about. Is like racism isn't just like I hate you and treating you bad. It's like also just it's like literally just treating someone different because of their race, like in that aspect. And people do it all these time these days as a way like, oh, I'm your friend, or like
hey Jarvis, I love Korean food too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like
there's
no reason to say it like that. It's just weird. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't
to a lesser
breed,
extent.
like,
oh, I'm Korean. Oh my gosh, I
conversation.
love K-pop. Okay. I mean,
yeah, I don't.
I actually don't love K-pop, so cool. I'm glad that you found something that you like about, my mom's culture.
Right.
Do you have some cool, interesting facts for us about this movie?
$2.5 million, $2.5 million, $4.5 million. Let me look at the thing. $4.5 million. That's how much it took to make this movie.
That's not. I mean,
it's not. That's not a lot.
No.
Yeah.
It's more than the
really
$10,000 that went into primer.
True. But a lot less than the like $250 million it takes to make any Marvel movie.
Yeah, exactly.
But grossed $255 million.
That's what they call a box office success.
Absolutely. It's like a 57 times multiple on the return.
Yeah,
it's
they made their money back 57 times. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I mean it's obvious how good this movie was. And it was the directorial and writing debut for Jordan Peele.
Crazy.
Which is
when you
also
think about
nuts.
that is nuts.
And I believe, let me look and make sure. I believe that it wasn't. Yeah. It was produced by his production company.
Yeah. Don't you wish that you had your own production company?
I totally wish
That's
that
the dream,
I had
right?
my own production company. I totally wish I did. I really wish I had one since like 2016. Made a movie with it.
Yeah.
I have a short film coming out soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
We look forward to it.
Thank you. From what I'm seeing, his production company took care of it, but he also got help from Universal Pictures, Blumhouse, QC Entertainment, and Fuji Television Network, and Dentsu, which I'm guessing is some Japanese distributor. So it's kind of crazy, and he definitely like leveraged his active connections to do so. But like that's the dream, you know?
Yeah.
Be in a funny sketch comedy group, make a banging script.
Yeah, dude. And
get it made and blow everyone's heads off with it. That's like, awesome.
Shoot your career into freaking space, dude.
Yeah.
Like he's freaking. Now it's like if you hear he's
Michael
making a movie,
Key is Toad in the Mario movie, and he's making more psychological thrillers.
Yeah, you hear he's making a movie, you get excited about it.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people didn't like Nope because they thought it was just boring and didn't have much to say.
Yeah, they didn't.
That movie was fun and movie very, very like butt clenchy,
very deep. Yes, very, very.
It gave Sybil nightmares.
Yeah, I really love that movie.
It's a crazy movie.
It's great. Let me ask you this: as not the target audience, how did you feel like watching the movie? Like from your perspective?
That's a weird way to phrase it. To be honest, I didn't realize that I wasn't really the target audience.
Right, but
that makes sense.
Yeah. Because
I don't. That's what's weird to think about. I'm a film lover, so I guess I didn't think you caught me off guard with this one.
Like, I mean, were there any? Do you feel like there was anything that you watched that you were just kind of like, was there anything that stood out to you as like, ooh, like, because here's the thing, I don't think that the people that really truly understand the movie, I think, are black people. They understand, like they understand it on a level that we don't understand it fully. You know what I'm saying?
There's actually a really good South Park episode about this.
Yeah.
I know that's a weird thing to say, but South Park really nails it sometimes. Is when Stan is trying to talk to Tolkien about like how Stan understands how Tolkien feels.
Yeah.
About people like being racist around him because Stan's Jewish and he understands the racism thing. And Tolkien's like, you don't, but that's fine. And Stan's like, no, really, I understand it. Like, what do I need to do to prove it? And the whole episode is like him getting to the point where he's like, you know what, Tolkien, I don't think I'm ever going to understand. And he's like, that's the point, buddy.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the whole point, is that you won't ever understand, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And you just need to go into things understanding that you're not going to understand.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those movies that very like a lot of the subtext also does that.
Yeah.
Is that, hey, this isn't really for you, and that's kind of the point.
Right.
And I think that's fine.
I agree. There's not a problem with that.
And I think that is the point of the movie. It's like, let us have our thing.
Exactly.
The trauma, the like generational like abuse, all of the
subtle like dealing with. I mean, maybe not racism,
the good and the bad.
Well, but ultimately it's racism because you're
let us have our thing.
Yeah. So, but like that's the mark, I think, of a good movie, a good story, a good, like, you, as even though you're not the target audience, you can relate to what's going on in the movie. Yeah. You understand what's happening. You may not see necessarily your involvement in those things, but you recognize it as like, hey, that's a weird thing. That's not an okay thing.
I bring this up a lot, and I took my uncle to go see Lady Bird when it was in theaters.
Right.
And he's very like, dude,
macho man.
Dude, like, I love all of the Michael Bay movies and anything that's action thriller. My favorite Christmas movie is, I don't remember, Die Hard. Thank you. And he walked out of that movie, Lady Bird, and said, man, I never thought I'd be able to like feel like I could relate to a teenage girl ever. And I went, that's like kind of the point of movies most of the time, is to learn how other people feel without actually having to experience the things they experience. Yeah. It's just seeing it from their perspective.
So then let me ask you another tough question that you may not be able to answer. Do you feel like after watching this movie that like it changed your thoughts or perspective on anything? Like, do you feel like the movie kind of opened something new for you, like regarding like, because as you're watching a movie about a specific group's mindset and struggles and things I have to, because that's what Jordan Peele said. He's like, I wanted to make a movie about what I
experienced.
What have I experienced?
Yeah. I don't know. When did this movie come out? I'm trying to figure out how old I was when it came out. That's Jordan Peele. That's not the movie. 2017. So I was like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
18, I think. 19, something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of when I graduated. As 19, 20, something like that. How old am I?
What is time?
Yeah. So I feel like I think I have two answers to this question. The first one is like, as a young adult, you learn a lot about the world really quick.
Yeah.
And I was in that like sweet spot of like, just getting out of school, I feel like I could take on the world, and the world beating the absolute shit out of me.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those times where I was like, oh, I never thought about it like that, but not being able to think outside of myself really yet. But I will say that I experience this a lot with people around me where they watch a movie like that.
Yeah.
Not specifically that, like Get Out, but I've like my dad, for instance, will watch a movie about women and be like, oh, well, they're just trying to make the point that like men are bad.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, so I don't like the movie. And you're like, okay, man.
That's all you got out of it then.
Right. So you're like missing the point because you don't want to look at the movie as a whole. You're looking at yourself.
And to be honest with you, a lot of people, when they are faced with an accurate reflection of them or their gender or their whatever that you fill in the blank, they usually don't like it.
Right.
And they tend to get real defensive instead of taking an honest look and saying, man, yeah, that has a problem.
Yeah, and it's a real disservice to the piece of art that you're watching when you do that, because it's the purpose of any movie like this, or most movies in general, to the exception of like propaganda or like really badly made like political pieces, are not trying to make you feel bad about yourself.
Right.
They're trying to make a point about like what life is like for somebody, or what life is like in society, or in a specific part of the world.
And even though it's exaggerated by like a crazy fiction like this, it's still showing an accurate portrayal of because like you don't what a lot of people don't understand is like the way that it's hard to empathize with someone who has a much different experience than you in the world. You know what I mean? But for me, and I think for you as well,
it's fun.
I think you understood. Well, I think you understood, like, as soon as you saw those blue and red lights, you're like, that's bad.
Yes, yeah.
We understood.
Like, even if you don't agree with the fact that you, like, oh, all cops are racists against black people, it's like, you know that in that moment, that's what's going to happen.
That's not good for our protagonist.
The dude's actively choking out a woman.
But we also have to recognize that there were people who watched that movie that when they saw the lights, they were like, "Oh, good, the cops are here. Everything's gonna be okay."
Or even worse, rolled their eyes because they're like, "Oh, they're trying to turn this political."
Oh yeah. And it's like, but dude. That's one of the experience endings. The what we saw was that was not going to be the original ending.
Yeah,
the original ending was it was going to be a cop, and
he was going to get arrested. Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
I think what he said was he was going to get arrested, and then eventually like just locked away forever, or and then there was a whole scene with him in prison and talking.
I do remember that.
His friend on the outside talking to Rod on the outside, and that was going to be the original one. And then he said, "You know what? I didn't want it to end on a bad note like that."
Yeah.
And so he made the decision to make the cop car, made it Rod. And to me, chef's kiss, perfect way to end the movie. I think it was exactly what the movie needed.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the levity at the end with him and his friend, I told you not to go in that house.
Well, the tension gets really, really high, and then immediately it's like, okay, everything's fine.
And then we all can breathe that sigh of relief,
which is what it needed.
Chris. Oh, so needed after all of that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I mean is it had a good and a good
resolution.
Yeah, satisfying. Ending.
Yeah.
Ending. You know what I mean? So, but that's the thing is just understanding that there's a lot of different ways to take a lot of the things that were going on in the movie.
Yeah.
But accepting them as a truth, like, well, now it's like the guy at the party. oh, black is in fashion, black is in style, and it's like
it's weird, still weird thing to think about.
Fetishizing, black culture, black community, or
oh yeah, that is a phrase that was used a lot in the like press tours of the movie,
and that's equally as wrong and bad. Like, even if you're like, oh, this is a good, like,
no, I'm not racist. I love black people.
I really love
way too much.
Like, their skin is my favorite. I just love it so much. I would love
very
to have
weird.
some.
One of these days, people are gonna like take the clips out of context, and I'm really gonna have to deal with that.
Man, I hope we can get to a point where our channel's like big enough that people will start to do that.
Yeah.
But we're at 100 subscribers now, so
it's pretty big. It's pretty big.
Crushing it. I mean, I don't know.
That's a small village.
Yeah. It's
they say it takes a village.
They do. I've heard that.
More people than was at our wedding. About double, actually.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
we had a small wedding on purpose. That wasn't like we invited a bunch of people. That was.
I think that's the move as well. Yeah. Just like the ending was the move.
The ending was the move.
Perfect ending to the story by Jordan Peele.
Yeah. Watch Jordan Peele movies. They're very good.
Dude, just please. And then we'll review them. We definitely are going to do some more vids for sure down the line. We just kind of take this as a, we just do it. We pick our movies at random.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We actually have a dartboard, and we just put a bunch of names on it, and whichever one it hits, that's where we go.
Yeah, it's actually so random that we don't actually throw the darts. We actually find somebody on the street to throw the dart at the board for us. That's how random it is. We won't even do it ourselves.
Yeah.
So, but overall, man, I got to say, this is a movie. Now, you know what I was thinking today as well? Instead of like giving a rating, like I want to start doing like, don't watch, rewatchable. And I think that's kind of like,
okay.
And then like, I don't know, maybe own it. You know what I mean? Buy it.
Yeah.
For me, dude, I would say buy this movie. Get all the behind the scenes, all the interviews, all the director's commentaries. This is a movie you need to own. Which I think you do, right?
I do, and I have the script as a book on the shelf.
There you have it.
Yeah. I would also say buy the movie, but also in general, I'm getting on my soapbox real quick. Buy movies for two reasons. Number one, it supports the people more directly than streaming it does. And number two, streaming companies can just take movies off at any point in time. I've bought movies on like iTunes before that get taken off just because, and I've also seen people like get the rights to streaming a movie, and then they just disappear off the face of the earth forever. So buy movies. Maybe rip a version of it for your computer just in case something happens to it.
Yeah.
That is legal, by the way, if you own it. Like if you have bought it before, you're allowed to do that. So yeah, buy movies. It's very, very important. Honestly, probably would save you some money on streaming services if you just bought the movies anyway, depending on the movie.
Yeah, and like you said, it's good to be able to like fully explore the depths of like, especially a movie like this.
Yeah,
you want to know the detail. You want to know what he was thinking. You want to know.
You would love that book, not for reading purposes, but the fact that like it has the entire script, screenshots from the movie, and then little annotated notes where you can flip to the back of the book to see like what the purpose of the things in the movie were for.
Yeah, and there's so much,
really
like
cool.
we said, there's so much subtext, and there's so much like. I mean, it's just worth investigating and seeing all the intentional things that were put in there. Like Jordan Peele said that them arriving in the black cars, that was on purpose. And like, there's just so many things that you may have missed.
Yeah,
are very intentional.
Yeah,
very intentional. So, I mean, I think this is the end of it. Unless you got something else you want to say, but like. I can't say enough good things about this movie. This is one of those movies that like it's so good that I don't think that I could think of a way to improve it in any way. Like it's just a
good movie. Yeah, it's just a really good movie.
Yeah. My goodness, what a great movie! What a great episode. Thank you for being here with us. Do you want to express some thanks?
No.
All right, there you have it. Screw you guys. I'm just kidding.
I'll thank you if you subscribe. I'll write you a letter of recommendation for a job that you need so badly. I'll do it.
Yeah, it's tough out there, so you're going to need that.
Yeah, so subscribe.
Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us again.
Put a comment about how I am wrong about my opinion, and I'm just kissing up to Jordan Peele because I have some liberal agenda. In the comments, do that.
And if you're Jordan Peele and you happen to see this, please reach out to us.
If you're Jordan Peele, especially put that in the comments,
dude, because we freaking love you, and I can tell you,
so funny.
I mean, we'll scrape together whatever measly amount of money we can come up with.
I'll buy you a plane ticket,
dude. I will freaking.
It might be Spirit Airlines, but that's just because times are tough. You know what I'm saying?
I will cook you. I will cook you some Korean food or something.
Yeah, that you'll love because you love Koreans. As we expressed in this movie.
Yes. And we love you, man, dude. Seriously, you're amazing. And if you ever see this, like, come on our podcast, please. But anyways, thanks for hanging out with us. It really means a lot to us that you watch and that you liked and subscribed. So if you haven't liked or subscribed, please consider doing so. We would greatly appreciate it. We love talking about movies. We'd love to hear what you thought about Get Out, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, whether when the cop showed up you were happy or sad. Or
out yourself in the comments, please.
Yeah,
I really want you to out yourself in the comments.
Yeah, and also remember that I did not high five for whiteness. Let's remember that. Nope, not gonna do it, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We hope your day is everything you dreamed of being more, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Sup? You know, you'd look cooler if you'd subscribed.
Your dad wouldn't be so disappointed in you if you subscribed.
Your friends would do it. Aren't you like them? Don't you want to be like your friends? Your friends would do it. Nah, you're too much of a wimp anyway.
Yeah,
you could watch a couple other videos though if you were cool.
Yeah, you won't though. Should.